Hey everyone, just a heads up, this episode contains a little bit of colorful language.
Fear is not a big deal for me.
Breast cancer. Was that
Yeah.
scary?
That shit was scary. No. If I give this away, it's gonna come back. And if it doesn't, it's okay. I'm not gonna miss it.
You mean like earthly belongings, earthly stuff,
Yeah.
money, stuff.
Yeah, money. Yeah. Boy, drinking and bowling is a lot of fun. That's so much fun.
I'm Rachel Martin, and this is Wildcard, the game where cards control the conversation. Each week, my guest chooses questions at random from a deck of cards. My guest this week is comedian Wanda Sykes. Comedy takes a ton of courage, and when you look at Wanda Sykes' career, TV, stand-ups, movies, and more, you realize that the courage doesn't just show up on stage. Quitting her stable government job to pursue comedy took guts. So did getting divorced and coming out publicly, surviving breast cancer. And when I watch her on stage, taking up space, saying all the taboos out loud and having the best time doing it, I think she makes everyone else watching feel a little bolder themselves. Wanda is getting on stage again for her new tour. It's called Please and Thank You. Wanda Sykes, welcome to Wildcard.
Well, hello, Rachel. Thank you. That was probably one of the best intros ever.
I meant it. First three. Memories
Skip.
Skip! You're feeling punchy. Can't skip.
All right.
Okay, one, two, or
two.
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 What activity gave you a sense of freedom as a kid?
When we first moved to Maryland, it was, housing development, and it wasn't quite finished.
Under construction?
They were still under construction. And we would just go off and like get on our bikes and ride through the areas that were still under construction. And just roam through the homes, and we kind of play hide and seek a little bit, and it just felt like your own, like your own place, and your parents had no idea, where you were.
And a little dangerous, right? A little dangerous.
Yeah, exactly. A little dangerous, and every now and then a construction crew would come through, and you're like, oh, I gotta get out of there. That was man, I was living on the edge. That was freedom.
How old do you think?
I was going into the third grade. So what? That's 8, right?
Yeah.
8 or 9.
Yeah.
I remember being terrified because if my brother if they couldn't find me, because the game was the hide and seek. So so there's a point where you're like, oh, I am so winning, they can't find me.
Yeah.
And then it's like, wait a minute, are they still out there?
Right, are they still looking for me?
Are they still looking for me? And then you kind of like give up and go out like, here I am. Yeah.
Okay, 3 more.
Let's go 1.
What's an ordinary place that feels extraordinary because of what happened there?
You know what? Bowling alleys seem to do that for me.
Oh, I love that answer. Tell me why.
Yeah. Bowling alleys, I remember from a kid, because my father, he had a side hustle, and he would clean the lanes at the bowling alley, this on the military base. So we would go with him Saturday mornings, while he was cleaning, the lanes. We would get to bowl. So, so I fell in love with bowling then. And then as I got older, bowling with friends was always a good time. They would just drop us off at the bowling alley, and we would just, blow a Saturday. And then when as college or adult age, I should say, boy, drinking and bowling is a lot of fun. That's so much fun. And I still enjoy doing it. I've had birthday parties, bowling alleys. Actually, my 60th was a bowling party.
There's something lovely about the conversations that can happen in bowling alleys too. It's like one of those
That
things.
too, yeah.
It's like, because there's not the pressure. It's not like, let's go for a walk and talk, or like, let's go sit down and have coffee and like discuss this thing. You're just doing this thing. It's super fun. It can be as competitive as you want.
Right.
And while you're doing it, all of a sudden something can happen, and there's
Yeah.
like a little conversational alchemy, and you're bowling, and all of a sudden you're in like a deep, interesting place with a person.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. And like you say, you can, although you're having this conversation, then there's this, like you said, the competitive, that kicks in, and it's like, oh, wait a minute, you're trying to win. You're lulling me into this conversation,
Right,
and now you're
right.
trying to win. All right.
We're going to push back from the game because I want to talk about your tour. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I feel like that's in order every time. I mean, this is old hat for you now, but
Yeah.
it's still a big deal when you get the material
is.
together and you decide that you're going to pack your bags and live this tour life for a bit. Did you just get the hankering every few years, or how does it come to you? Someone tells you, Wanda, you're due. You need to get out there. What's the impetus?
I still love it. And, and when I'm filming and I come off of a project, I definitely want to just hit the road, because that's where I feel connected and funny again. And also I get nervous that if I don't do it for a while, am I going to lose it?
Yeah.
And also, it's like there's so much going on, especially in our country right now, that I know people want it. They need to hear what I have to say, or they're wondering, what does Wanda? I mean, I know that sounds like very like self-absorbed, and like, oh, really, Wanda? People really need to hear what you have to say. But you know what? Yeah, they do, and and I think they do.
You've spent a long time. You've built an audience over
Yeah.
decades.
It's my audience, basically. I want to stay connected with them. I've worked hard at developing this audience, and they stick with me, and they've been there for, man, what, 5 specials, whatever. So
Yeah.
I love getting out on the road and talking to the people.
You said earlier that you need to get on tour to remind yourself that you're funny. Does it start to... I mean, I saw you walked in, you were talking to our crew, you made a joke. You're a funny lady. You can't help yourself. You're just funny. But it doesn't feel like that to you in your regular day-to-day, or you need the adrenaline and the ecstatic feeling that comes from being on stage being funny?
Yeah, I think I need higher stakes, and so to say, hey, I'm on tour, and what are you doing Saturday night? How about pay for this ticket and throw some pants on, and that's all I need, just pants. And come see me for a couple hours, and hope you have a good time. So yeah, I need some investment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's sort of like hide and seek when you were little. Like, it's just
There you
a
go.
little riskier. You need something with higher stakes.
Yeah.
Something a little unsafe. And a live audience it's a little unsafe.
Right.
Yeah. Comedians draw from friends and family in their personal life. That's not a new thing. But you do too. But your kids are now, like we said, they're teenagers.
Yeah.
Are they cool with it? Or do you need their buy-in for certain jokes? Or do you stay away from things that are going to implicate them in some way?
I am cautious when it comes to them, because it is their life, and they should, and they really shouldn't be fodder for my material, but they are a part of my life. They're a huge part of my life,
Yeah.
and they take up a lot of my time. So I feel like some things I can talk about, because I didn't have time to go experience
That's
something
right.
else because I'm busy
It's
running
their
you
fault.
around.
That's right.
It's your fault. It's your fault. I don't have time to read a paper. Like,
Right.
do we
There's no
even,
other creative will to
I mean,
draw
I
from.
didn't have time to screen or scroll or whatever we do now with how we read. I didn't have time to do that. I was busy with doing some of your crap. So I want to talk about it. But I am, like I said, very particular as far as like what I,
Yeah.
what I say about them.
Yeah.
Because they are aware and they have asked, look, we don't get to watch your specials, but some of our friends, their parents let them watch. So can you like not talk about us or so?
They can't watch
Yeah.
them, huh?
Well, they can now. Now I think they just choose not
Not
to.
It must be said, your wife must be a very, very good sport.
Oh, she loves it. She's
She
like,
does.
after every show I come home, did you talk about me tonight? How did I do? She loves it.
Well, congratulations again on the tour.
Well, thank you.
We're moving to round 2.
3.
When did it feel like the career you wanted was in reach?
I'm going to say after the I'ma Be Me special.
Tell me the year.
Kids were just born. So that was 2009.
And why did that feel pivotal? What changed after that?
It was like elevated. I felt like I moved up and the comedy was stronger. I was very open, talking about, being out and married and kids. But I also talked about, what was happening in politics and all. So to me, it was very liberating for me to just be that open
Yeah.
on stage.
Be yourself.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So that
So yeah.
you'd been doing this a long time by that point. Couple decades. So
Yeah.
it's a couple decades of
Yeah.
not really feeling like you'd made it.
Right. Well, not. I shouldn't say like I, had made it because I think I
It's
had
a different
TV
question. You're
shows.
right. It's a different question.
Yeah, I had a
Feeling
TV
like
show.
you're
I
making
had
it
stuff.
in the career
Yeah.
you wanted. Yeah.
Right.
You're right.
This was the career I wanted.
Yeah. So you had been super successful in this one way. By
Right.
any other measure, other people, I'm sure, were looking at that like, Wanda's got her own show, and she did specials,
Right.
and blah, blah, blah. And you were on all these, you're on all the popular, funny shows at the time, guest appearances. But it is different to get what you want. Like
Right.
the career that you wanted sounds like was to be able to be your whole self on stage, and that wasn't and talk about what you wanted to, no matter who was going to piss off. And there's a element of vulnerability in that too, and you got to be at a certain point, a certain age, to not give a damn what people think. Was that part of it too?
That totally it. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. And that if there's not another TV show, your own show, sitcom or whatever that comes along, I'm okay with it. Because I like where I am right now on this stage. And if I just continue to tour and do this, I'm fortunate. I'm happy.
The year you've identified, 2009, in that special, that was like not that long after you did come out publicly.
Right.
So was there any part of you that had wished maybe you would kind of rip that Band-Aid off earlier in terms of like some big public acknowledgement?
No, I believe things happen
When
in time when they're supposed to happen.
Yeah.
I probably wasn't ready. I probably wasn't ready to handle if whatever backlash that would have happened. But when I did it was when I was ready.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. 3 more cards.
Let's go with 1.
Okay. What do you find most difficult to model for the children in your life?
I would say drinking.
That's a real one.
we have a wine at dinner. Well, not my kids. My wife and I will have,
Yep.
wine at dinner, but it's so good,
I know.
you
She's
know?
French. She probably has great taste in
Yeah.
wine.
Yeah, yeah. So it's that, the conscious choice of, we'll just have water tonight for dinner. We don't need to,
It's a big deal. I
yeah.
recently stopped drinking in large part because of that.
Yeah.
Because when you see yourself through your kids' eyes, when they start to be like these sentient beings or like, middle schoolers who are now tracking everything you're doing,
Right.
you're like, I don't know if this is what I want them to see.
Yeah.
But it's hard because you're like, oh, it's just a glass or two of
Yeah.
wine every night.
Or like I have friends over and we're playing games or whatever and drinking and my kids are around.
Yeah.
I mean, you can hear this. When you're getting a little louder and
Uh-huh.
you're a little slur. You hear
It's so
that.
funny.
you're-
You think you're so much
it's
more
so
funny.
Yeah. So you have to. I gotta go. Okay. Whoops. Now it's time to pull back. So yeah.
Yeah. I hear
Yeah.
that. I hear that in a very real way. Thank you. And I'm just saying.
Did your parents drink?
So they didn't.
See, my parents, they did.
When-
And I can remember,
So what did
how
that
I felt as a kid,
Really?
Yeah.
And
I mean, they weren't like, alcoholics or
Sloshing
anything,
around.
but,
No, I
but
know.
yeah, but yeah.
You pick up on things.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just curious, did watching your parents and their alcohol habits, you think that had a direct effect on you?
I mean, yeah, I think they were, like they were having fun,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I want to have fun. Be grown and have fun.
Yeah.
Um, it was, they laughed a lot, and I remember and I enjoyed being around that, you know. Um, but then then it was like, um, as a kid, you feel sometimes a little, I don't want to say like unsafe, like, or are they going to be okay?
Yeah.
Especially, you know, the getting home, like, oh boy, they went out to a party. Are they going to be okay? Are they going to come home? It was that type of thing.
Yeah. And just that's a part of recognizing that your parents are also just people, right? They're not
Yeah.
these
Yeah.
perfect beings, but they're people with vulnerabilities. I remember my mom came
Right.
home after a party. She never drank. She drank at this party, and she clearly had too many margaritas. And she came into my bed to tuck me in, and it was so weird. I definitely have a core memory of that. She was not her words were slurring, and I was like, what's going on here? So yeah, those little children are watching everything we do.
Exactly. But again, like I said, it was never a problem. My parents were never
understand.
like problem
Totally.
drinkers.
I totally understand.
But as a kid, like I said, you clock all of that. You do.
Yeah, they're watching. Okay. 3 more cards. Last one in this round. 1, 2, or 3.
Let's go. Let's go 1.
1. How big of a role does fear have in your life?
Not a huge role. For the most part, I don't. I don't live in fear or think about fear. And when I do, I think about God, and I think about scriptures. Tells us be anxious for nothing, and so I try to live by that.
Is that always the case for you? Because I started this with an
As-
intro about conjuring courage to do what you've done at several steps in your
I think
life.
I think as my faith gets stronger, then that helps. Like I really believe that. Hey, if something happens, I'll be okay, and I'll get through it. And that's through my faith. Like if I have to go through something, it's because I need to learn something, or someone needs to see someone go through something to help them, or but yeah, I always feel like I'm gonna come out okay on the other side of it. it's just something we just got to go through sometimes. But so I don't look at it as, like, ooh, I don't want to do it, or fear.
Breast cancer. Was that
Yeah.
scary?
That shit was scary. Ooh, that scared the shit out of me. No, 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 breast
I mean,
cancer.
it is scary.
Yeah,
It is scary.
it is. It is. And at the time, I so many friends who had either gone through it or were going through it, and some didn't make it. So again, I just clasped onto that. Wow, I was so fortunate that it was detected at such an early stage, and that I was going to be okay.
Yeah. Okay, now we're moving to the beliefs round, which I feel like we've already sort of touched on, so I'm anxious for your answers to these questions. 1, 2, or 3?
3.
What's the most religious thing about you?
I tithe. I try to.
So does everyone know what that means? To tithe, to give a certain percentage of what you make to a church or to mission work.
Just give.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like our church, we do like a corporate fast. The whole church like does a fast, and I participate in that. We did a 40-day fast.
So for people who aren't religious or spiritual, what do you get out of it spiritually? What does it make you feel?
It makes me feel like I'm aware of what's important and where my blessings come from, and the confidence of I'm not going to miss it. If I give this away, it's going to come back, and if it doesn't, it's okay. I'm not going to miss it. It's.
You mean like earthly belongings, earthly
Yeah.
stuff, money, stuff.
Yeah, money.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know how it can change someone else's life,
Yeah. Have you ever doubted God?
Doubted God.
Yeah.
I would say I've been sometimes like felt distance, and like I guess the doubt is like, wait a minute, why is this happening?
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand this. Are you really gonna let us go through this? What is the plan, man?
What is the
Ooh,
lesson
yeah,
here?
Yeah, it's like, oh boy, I can't wait to see how you get out of this one. It's more of that. It's more of that, like, oh boy, you are in a pickle right now, God. What you gonna do about this? Yeah. How you gonna turn this one around?
And does he most of the time in your experience?
Most of the time, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I love it. I love having that belief, and just to be able to have those type of conversations, and like
And you're convinced there's
just
someone
figure
on the
something out.
other end listening?
Oh God, yes.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I can feel it sometimes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. My parents were really religious. I was raised with the church and have kind of held it lightly. And then when I had kids, I was like, okay, well now I got to make a choice. Am I or not?
Mm-hmm.
Like, do I give them the religious foundation that I was brought up with? And then it's up to them to do with it what they will. They can reject it. They can keep it, whatever. Or do I not do that because that's not where I'm at anymore, because I found myself sort of falling away from that belief system.
Mm-hmm.
And we ended up in the second option. And so I still feel a lot of ambivalence over it.
See, that's the thing. I like my regret is that I didn't do that for my kids. And I feel like I kind of like shortchanged them, because my parents gave that to me, and I know how much I rely on it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, I talked to them about God, but I didn't raise them in the church.
Right. It's not the same.
Yeah. And I like we say grace before dinner. And I do a little extra in there, slip some stuff in on them during the grace. I know they got an exam. I asked, God help them out with that and all stuff and give them the focus. So I slip stuff in. But I do feel bad that I didn't give them that. And I still talk to God about that. Like, what am I gonna do here? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they will carve their own way, right? They will carve
Right.
their own way.
Right.
And things that you think aren't seeping in, just like with the drinking, and the drinking's the negative stuff. But on the positive stuff, you have modeled that. You have modeled what it means to be a person of faith, and that is navigated. It has helped you navigate how you walk through the world, and they will see that too. Okay, next 3. That was a long one. Okay, 3 more. 1, 2, or 3.
2.
When do you feel connected to the people you've lost?
Ooh.
Your parents are still around.
Yeah, my parents are still around. It was weird, man. Like my grandmother, my mother's mother. It was out of the blue. I was just actually talking with my friend Liz, and I think we just got back from a wedding, and I was sitting at a bar. We were having a glass of wine, and out of nowhere, I just got this sense of, and it was like, I was like, what is happening? And I just started sobbing, and I looked at Liz, and Liz was like, what is happening? I was like, my grandmother loves me. And she's like, what? And I'm like, I just felt her. It was weird. It was like she just, needed to let me know that, like, hey. Because I always wondered, like, what I'm doing now and the whole family thing, like how she would feel. And it was just answered. But I wasn't, out of the blue. So I always go back to that moment.
How long ago after she died did that happen?
Oh, we're talking, geez, it's maybe 30 years?
Yeah.
25, 30 years? Yeah.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. I was like, that's a long trip. Took you that long to get here, Grandma? I couldn't give you an express pass or something? For that little, But no, it was the
Maybe
best.
it came when you needed it. Yeah, it came when you needed it.
I think so.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
We end the show the same way every time. You get to pick one moment that you would go back to. It is not a moment you would change anything about. It can be any time in your life. It is just a moment you would like to sit in and linger in a little longer.
I think about my dog Riley. So I think about my dog Riley, but I'm trying which moment though, but I still miss that guy. You know what? I'm gonna go with my first date, like real date with Alex.
It's your wife.
Yeah.
Where'd you go?
She met me at the ferry in Sayville. We went to this restaurant in Sayville, and we
Where's
set out
Sayville?
on the Sayville, New York.
New York.
Sayville, New York.
Okay.
Yeah. That's where you take the ferry to go to Fire Island.
Oh, yeah.
Cherry Grove. Yeah. So, and we set out on the porch or whatever at this restaurant, and it was empty. It was no one there, and we just had a really nice some little snacks and a drink, and just talked, and it was really special. I'll just say that. A little smooch in there, I got a smooch. Yeah.
Got a smooch.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wanda Sykes. She has a new tour, and you should go see her on it. It is called Please and Thank You. Wanda, thank you so much.